Welcome everyone, this is a meeting with the Board of Selectmen. Today is September 22nd, it is 11:30 a.m. Is there a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The first order of business we have is Ms. Silva to discuss with the board water and sewer rates for the upcoming fiscal year. Ms. Silva, welcome.
Good morning, how are you today?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you. So I have three things I'd like to talk about today, the water rates, the sewer rates, and the meter rates. So if it's okay with everybody, we'll start with the water rates. I gave the board a package. So the second page is your water analysis. If you look at the top, when I do an estimated income from billing, I take a 3-year average of what the usage has been based on our billing and multiply what our current rates are at this point, our tier rates. Then we have to subtract out what our budget is, assuming we're going to spend the entire budget. Right now, if you do not increase the rates, you will have a deficit of $80,391. Looking at that, and obviously the residents, the last thing we like to do is increase the rates. So I'm going to give you two options. The first option is to increase the bottom rate by 35 cents. The second rate would be 35 cents, and the top rate would be 75 cents. As those at the top are mostly our commercial users who use a large amount. If we do that, then you'll be adding, or we should be having a $21,529 surplus that we can add to our undesignated fund balance. The second option I gave was not hitting the bottom group as hard, so you'd have a 25-cent increase on the first rate. You'd have a 25-cent increase on the second rate, and you would have $1 on the top. I feel it's a little bit more fair to everybody to do number one. That is the DPW's recommendation.
I agree. So, gentlemen, I've sat with Ms. Silva yesterday, or the day before. Was it yesterday, Kath? I sat with you.
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yes.
Been in a lot of meetings this week, so we tossed some different numbers around from some of the original proposals, and I think it's unfortunate in our 0 to 1,500 category, that category used to be 65% of our water users was in that first category. You can see how that 0 to 1,500's gone down to 40%. So apparently 25% have shifted into the 1,501 to the 2,500. Based on option one that Ms. Silva's proposing to the board, we'd still generate a small surplus. You can see over the years, since the Board of Selectmen have taken over the DPW, the Board of Public Works, I should say, through town meeting vote, of course, we stabilized rates pretty well over the years, and we've built from what I would call an insufficient reserve to a very sufficient reserve. So I think, the town's in a good place for their reserves. If bad things would happen to water infrastructure, there's a good reserve there. There's no need to build a bigger reserve than what Ms. Silva's calculated here. And obviously that reserve, that surplus can go up or down depending on where billing comes in. And we have to do our best guess for the amount that we have to pay to the city of New Bedford in the budget line item for the water department. You'll see a line item there that says paid to the city of New Bedford water. It's a pretty big number. Kathy and Dan do their best just to calculate based on the last 3 years of what it's gonna be, to look at it, do a little adjustment. So again, if we don't sell that much, we don't buy that much water, then that means you're not selling that much water, so it's kind of an offset. And we gotta carry our fixed costs, right, from what the city of New Bedford does. So with all that being said, over the last 3 years, we're pretty parallel with what the city of New Bedford's increased our water rates. However, it's been a very good job by the department because of all the fixed costs that are inside the department. That's saying quite a bit for keeping rates where they're at. It's from the 0 to 2,500 category. It's roughly $8.75 per quarter.
Correct.
For water. That's what that 35-cent increase equates to.
Kathy, what percentage of these rates are attributed to like salary benefits, so on and so forth, right? Because if we're calculating a rate, right, as Kevin says, there's gonna be a fixed cost. How much of it, would you say, 10%, 20%, 30%?
I would say, first of all, 85% of your budget is patron to benefit. The rest of it is for your salaries and your fringe benefits, and then
Fixed
the
costs.
maintenance, yes,
All
the
the
fixed
other
costs,
stuff
you know,
that's-
to keep our,
So
to keep the
15%.
water up and running.
Uh-huh.
That, we have 1.25 million this year, Kevin is David is allocated to just paying to benefit. And like Kevin said, if we don't buy as much, we're not selling it, you don't know how much the usage is gonna go, depending on, like, this summer we had a lot of water, a lot of rain. So usually when you see that, when I build this quarter, we'll probably be lower than we were last summer, that we had that heat wave and no rain. So last year we had this huge usage and we paid to benefit a lot, but I expect this year to be lower on both. We will sell less and we'll buy less. So it's a big guess. We don't know
Correct.
what the weather's gonna do.
Yeah, it's a move, it's an
Well,
absolute move.
I think one thing I'd like to see moving forward, and if, it's part of this discussion, unless it's provided to the town administrator or to you, Kevin, as our liaison, I really don't know what projects you guys are working on when it comes to water. Like, I don't know what the water team does on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, I don't know, Stanley, you're new to this, relatively new to this board. Have you ever received a report of like what they do, you know, what the team does and what they're...
I've had history of actually seeing water testing in person.
Right, no, I'm just talking about like, what are the
Other than that,
projects? Like, so I think moving
Correct.
forward, it'd be good to get, whether it's a bi-weekly report or a monthly report on what the sewer and water department is working on, what projects they anticipate, what they want to be working on. I think that'll help me, and that's something, you know, I'm sure the residents would like to know what they're paying for.
Correct. I mean, yeah, I know that I stand up here and I know because I'm in it every day,
Yeah.
and I understand that you don't. So that, yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Right.
No problem.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, is that capital project or all projects?
Everything.
He said everything, Mr. Kelly, can you hear him?
Okay,
You know, if bi-weekly is too much of a, you know, you want to do it monthly, that's fine, but I kind of feel like bi-weekly is a good benchmark because then you just add, you know, it becomes a running list. Mr. Kelly provides us a town administrator's report every other week for our selectmen's meetings. I think something like that would be really good.
Right. And a lot of it is depending on the time of the year. Like summertime, we do flushing. So you know, it is a good thing to know each quarter what we're going through. But bi-weekly is fine.
So if you want, Ms. Silver, I'll entertain a motion to accept option one.
I'll make that motion. So,
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Sewer?
Moving on to sewer. We look again, I do the same type of analysis with sewer that I do for water, which is what's our average usage over the past 3 years. Based on our rates right now, what kind of income would that bring in? So as you can see, that less our budget, we still have a surplus that we would be adding of $23,201. We increased the sewer rates significantly a few years ago by 11%, which was a big increase, but it helped us a lot. We were able to build up our undesignated fund balance. So with that being said, I would suggest no rate increase to your sewer users. Also, at least 95% of your sewer users are water users, so they're gonna have an increase to the bill anyway. So I hate the years that we have to increase both, so I'd like to not increase them this year.
Is there a motion to stay at the current rate for sewer?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I know usually we're done at this point, but we do have other things that we bill for on the bills, and one of them is meter fees for our, when we do meter changeouts. When we do meter changeouts, it's a meter that's inside the house or in a pit, but most of them are inside your house. And then outside the house is an MTU, which is a meter transmit unit, which sends the reads to our office so that I can see what's going on in every house. So if there's a problem and you call in, I can actually see a usage. It helps a lot because we're switching over to 1 cubic foot meters, and the MTUs are now reading every hour. This has worked out great because in the past year, when we have critical consumption, which means there's usage on your property every hour, usually it means the toilet's running. That means that it can triple your bill if it's not caught. And this has been happening in the past. People come in screaming at me, why is my bill tripled? And then as Chairman Gaspar can attest to, since it happened to him before we had these new meters and MTUs, his bill tripled, and it was a toilet. So we're catching that. So as
But
soon
I
as-
didn't yell at you.
You did not yell, no.
Got it.
Not at all. So, what we do now is if we come in and every day I get reads from my system, and if it's a continuous read, I immediately go look at it, and if it's been every hour for the past 24 hours, we make a phone call if I have your phone number on account, if you're a resident, or we tag the property to say there's something going on. If this continues, your bill will double or triple by the time we bill in the quarter. So it's been a great investment
Yep.
to the residents, as well as us to be able to see what's going on so we can help them better. That being said, we're doing a 300 meter change out every year. So we're trying to get rid of all the old ones, put in all these new ones. So last year, it cost about $80,000 to do this, both an MTU and a meter. Our income from the meter fees that we're charging only brought in about $62,000. So I'm asking for a $2 per quarter increase on your meter fee to help us cover this cost. That would add $24,000 to your income, which would then bring you to about $86,000 for your meter income to cover all the meter MTU costs. We have not increased meter fees at least in 8 years since I've been here.
That's correct. It's $5 now.
Correct. And
That's been a flat fee since we
I've been here 8
were
years,
put in
so
charge
can
of the
we say-
DPW
Yeah.
in 2015, so you're right, 8 years, we haven't gone up on the meter increase. And obviously, Kathy gave me some disturbing numbers yesterday where we used to buy a meter, call it $115, $120, and that number's,
So to buy a new meter is $145, to buy the MTU is $125.
so.
Yeah.
And when you're in there changing a meter, we wouldn't always change the MTU, but now, as she's saying, we will move forward and change the MTU at the same time a meter's being changed out.
Correct. And going forward, this will eventually change once everybody's changed out. The MTUs should work a lot longer than the meters, so that we will not have, we can go back to a point where we're not changing out the MTUs all the time. But we won't be there for a while.
I think $8 a year is fair to possibly save yourself thousands.
Right?
At least a few hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? If you're running a business, it's thousands.
Yeah.
I've worked with Miss Silver on an individual in town where it was well over $1,000 in a commercial entity. So with the toilables leaking, so you know, I never want to raise prices, but obviously with inflation and the cost of everything going up, at some point you just have no choice but to do it. So, like Ms. Dinkley said, I think $8 over the overall year. I don't think it's that much. So, Selectmen, want to get anything?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve the $2 increase per quarter on the meter fee?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great weekend as well.
All right, on the new business, we have a right of first refusal, chapter 61A for 293 Perry Hill Road. Apparently, this property was taken out of chapter 61 a year and a half, 2 years ago, but it was never, the town was never notified and contacted through various departments. So at this point, the property owner is looking to sell their property, and it needs to be released off the lien for the chapter 61 benefit. Is there a motion to forego the right of first refusal for 293 Perry Hill Road?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Selectmen's announcements, Mr. Warner?
Nope.
Mr. Hinckley?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nothing.
I have nothing as well. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned.